to the show, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, we got our co-host, Sir Lady Christina of Money Tree. What's going on?
It's a very long, confusing title, but I'm happy to be here.
And we should be expecting JT at some point. Hopefully he joins us soon. I'm not sure what's going on, but we were supposed to go live here, so we just figured we'd just move ahead, and hopefully he joins us at some point. But so this episode, let me just get to my little banners here. And we'll skip the Game of Thrones music cue in now because there's no intro to this show. They're just doing all cold opens, as we discussed last episode. That might have been the case.
Great. Love it.
This is episode 94 of Watching the Throne. I calculated it. By the time we get back to House of the Dragon, we'll be at episode 100 because we'll do an episode of the trailer whenever that drops. And then episode 100, when we get to House of the Dragon, season 3, it's going to be episode 100 for Watching the Throne. So we've come a long way. That's I can't believe it's taken us a while to actually get through all of this, but I can't believe we actually did. And we're here talking about Game of Thrones again. And we'll talk about, just the overall feelings about what's going on with this series in a moment here. Christina said some interesting thoughts I share as well before we started recording. But this episode is Hard Salt Beef, and it's A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, season 1, episode 2 here that we're going to be discussing here today. So did you want to start with overall, before we get to thoughts on the show? What was your comment you just said to me prior to recording about this? That's kind of interesting. I agree with you.
I was just mentioning, and I haven't seen a lot of advertising for this show, and even when House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones was on, usually the next day the memes were endless, the content was out there, everyone was talking about it, and I just don't find that's happening with this show. I don't know what's going on, because even in my own experiences talking to people about it, nobody really knows what's happening. They don't know this is on. They don't know that this is a Game of Thrones spinoff. They just don't. The advertising or the P negative, and it's I don't know. It's great, but I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so, I feel the same, honestly.
Yeah.
Did they screw up because I don't think the title of this is Game of Thrones : A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It hasn't been advertised as such, right? Is this just being advertised as just A Night of the Seven Kingdoms? There's no Game of Thrones title in it. Yeah, because even House of the Dragon, I think, was
called on a trailer. I know when they're teaser trailers leading up to this, they were I think one video said a Game of Thrones realm story or something like that. It was kind of looped in,
right?
Not like Game of Thrones-esque. It's HBO, so I that's pretty much the only thing that people are paying attention to, but that's about it.
Also, maybe it's because people aren't ready for another investment because it's taken so long for us to continue to get back to House of the Dragon, and House of the Dragon is so closely related, I feel in tone to Game of Thrones. Maybe they're just not giving this a fair shake. But I also do think you're right. There's something to the advertising behind this too. And it's also a weird time to premiere because normally, we expect Game of Thrones to be in the summer or later in the year. This is also a weird time in the new year to drop it because movie studios, for instance, with movies, like it's like January, February, or where they just dump the projects that they don't really necessarily believe in a lot of the time, to the degree where, later on in the summer, you got summer blockbusters. And then like later on in the year after the summer, you get like Oscar worthy contenders. So like, I don't know if it's the same for like television shows, especially like prestige television with HBO, because they're like constantly putting stuff out. But it certainly feels like this show hasn't gotten the push or the hype that like Game of Thrones has in the past. It is kind of
I haven't even seen them do any of the press. Like I haven't seen any press junkets, premiere carpet, like nothing. Like I haven't seen anything. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe it's not part of my algorithm yet. Like I don't know. I just haven't seen it, which is weird because I'm seeing like House of the Dragon stuff. Like I'm seeing. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. It's just it's interesting. And maybe because it's a pilot. I don't. Well, not a pilot, but you know what I mean. Like maybe because it's like I don't know. It's very interesting. And maybe I don't know. There's no dragon so far, so maybe that's why people aren't paying attention. But
no, I definitely think there's something to it. I think you're right, honestly, because like even like the usual people, I feel like that have been check these shows out. Like you said, I don't think I've actively been checking them out.
Yeah.
Or I've heard them talk about it, or they haven't talked to me about it or anything like that. So maybe, people's interests aren't really with this show. I don't know, but let's get into what we thought of the episode. I thought this was another good episode. I mean, honestly, I'm into it. I mean, well, I guess we can't avoid talking about once again another big cold opening for the episode.
Huge.
Yeah. Guys hung like a I don't know what the hell he's hung out hung like there. That's crazy. Like that's just what a way to open it up. I mean, I know JT was talking about it last episode about how like he thought they were going to go the path of the cold openings because a lot of shows, that's what they tend to do these days. And I think he was correct in assuming that, because again, we got a really funny cold opening with what's his name? Sir Arlen. Yeah, Sir Arlen coming out of like his tent or whatever, I guess he just hooked up with a woman. He's going to piss. And huge prosthetic cock on this guy as he comes out. Oh man.
Is that confirmed or not? Like I don't know. I was afraid to Google it because I didn't want like to be inundated with, like porn. But like
it is confirmed. Yeah, I actually have it in my notes here.
Do you? Okay, because that's hilarious. Because like I swear, like the first thing that like my husband said to me when we watched it, he was like, "Oh, that's fake, right? That's fake."
Get a little self-conscious out there, eh?
Oh, come on. Like,
well, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's like,
it just made it like so much funnier. Like, it's just like, it's like perfect. It's like, this is just setting the tone for the whole episode again. Like, this is great. I love it.
But overall, I thought this was another solid episode. I'm really kind of I'm liking this world. I'm liking these characters. And this one, I think, took a little bit more homework, honestly, because they're dropping names of families left and right in this episode. There was a lot to take in, like within the runtime was just over half an hour for this one. Again, I think it was like 32 minutes with the credits. So it's probably just like a 30-minute episode, like, what we thought. But it was unexpected that they kind of quickly got to it, like in the sense that there's all these people showing up to the tournament that they're referencing in terms of their families, and they're kind of just off to the races here in this episode, I thought, like, and also while keeping up the story of this new character, which was quite well.
This was like pretty much like, this was very Game of Thrones-esque, like where the name dropping is coming in and you're trying to figure out who's this, what's happening, trying to pay attention. Even I watched it twice, but like even watching it twice was like, what? Like I had to watch it with subtitles the second time around because I'm like, I don't understand what they're talking about. This is crazy. Made it easier. I don't know if it's my age, if I'm showing my age with the subtitles, but totally made it easier to kind of follow along. Like, but I agree. Total name dropping.
Yeah.
And
thank God for these sites. I mean, shout out to this Wiki of Westeros who gives us a synopsis of the episodes that we usually use as as a guide to kind of to discuss each episode, because they're doing a lot of the legwork, these fans, by putting this all up within a couple of days time. Because I watched the episode twice, and I was like, honestly, sometimes I try to take down notes, but I was like, if I was trying to get down the references and the names of all these characters in this episode, it was a lot of work for a half-hour episode, because, you know, they're trying to show you how it's connected to so many things in this period of time of the show, while again actually telling the story about this character, basic, like, mainly. Really, they're not really focusing on other people. Other people are kind of coming in and out of it because they're part of the tournament, but it's really just about this guy, this knight in training, the Edge Knight, and his relationship to his knight that he kind of was the squire to there for a while, it seems like. So good stuff so far. Different tone.
Agreed.
I dig it. I mean, here's the thing. This is definitely only an appetizer to the main course of House of the Dragon. Like, I'm well aware of that. And but I don't think it should get shrift. Like, I don't think people should be ignoring this show. Like, if they want to give this a shot. Yeah, because it's just as good.
It's great.
It's just different tone, right? So I'm here for it. And then what they said, there's going to be 3 seasons of this, they said, right? So
yeah.
I mean,
I think each season is going to be each of the novellas, because there's 3 novellas like in this one book kind of thing. So I think at the end of this season, it'll be, I don't know. Like, I haven't done any, I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to, even though I've read Hedge Knight, like I don't want any extra spoilers for what production plans to do. So I haven't really looked anything up. If you guys have seen anything different, want to comment, let us know. But I think my prediction is that's what they're going to do.
Right.
And maybe that's why they haven't done a lot of PR, because maybe these characters aren't reoccurring. Maybe they're not coming back. So it's like, why are we going to spend money, like these actors? I mean, like, why are we going to spend money, like, to send them here, there, and whatever? Right. I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting choice, though.
Yeah, I think the fact that if we get these once a year and we get back on schedule, let's say with these last 2 seasons of House of the Dragon, I'm all right with that. If this is kind of like, we get this in the off season, essentially, like when we're waiting for the next season of House of the Dragon, like, because by the time that wraps up, this should be right around the corner, hopefully, again, a few months out. So that's I'm not against them doing. Listen, they did this kind of thing for like shows that like I stopped watching like forever ago. Like Walking Dead had like 2 or 3 shows of spinoffs on the air at once, I feel like, at its peak of popularity. I don't see why they can't do something similar like in this world, right? And keep it up, because by the time like we get to, let's say, the last season of this, hopefully House of Dragon's done and we can start up another show. They have confirmed there is other shows in the works. Like I don't know how much, we'll probably get into that more towards the end of this season. Maybe we can talk about more about upcoming stuff that they've teased, because they apparently have teased other things, right? There's been a lot of stuff in the rumor mill.
I know.
Yeah, but nothing confirmed yet. Like that's the thing, right? About stuff these days. And there's all this AI shit out there that they're trying to like fool people with now as well, where they're like, oh yeah, look at this poster. And it's like, just whatever, like AI generated.
Get out of here.
But all right, so I guess without further ado, I guess we'll get into some of the scenes here, unless there's anything else you wanted to add about this episode in particular.
I'm sure, like, not off the top of my head, but yeah, I'm sure I'll have plenty of comments as we go along.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so first up here, as I mentioned, it starts with the narration by Sir Duncan the Tall. There we get that big cock cold open.
Not the wrinkly butt was bad, but like, whoa.
And then you see him with a wound on his arm there. What's the deal there? What does he have, syphilis or something? What's going on there? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was like a something eating him from the inside out, because that's how bad that
syphilis.
Shit. I don't know.
God, no! I feel like he just got injured, and he's just like a dirty man. He just didn't.
Oh, he's a dirty man. You may be sleeping with I don't know who, like there at the start, and that's why I thought maybe, because isn't that the thing? Like back in the day, untreated, it like eats you like from the inside out, kind of like it's like you're. Isn't that what happened to the king in House of the Dragon? That's what happened to him. Wasn't that syphilis?
Wasn't it syphilis? I don't think it was syphilis.
Am I just imagining things now? I just watched in the Frankenstein movie, the guy who funded Did you see the Guillermo del Toro Frankenstein film?
Not yet. No, it's on my to watch
Really
list. 'Cause
good.
it's an Oscar
It's really good. It's really
contender,
good.
so.
Yeah, it's really good. But I really enjoyed it. But anyways, one of the guys died of that in that, and he was all he was all gross looking. I don't know. I threw it out there. It's an old school thing left on.
That's hilarious. It never crossed my mind. I just assumed he got a wound and he just didn't take care of it, so it's like infected. It's
You're probably
festering.
right.
It's causing him like delirium, like all the things that like sepsis creates. So I don't know. Oh my god, here's my medical.
I'm just reading into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, having failed to convince Manfred Dondarrion to vouch for him last episode, Sir Duncan the Tall goes about the turning grounds at Ashford, pleading with other lords, who is his master. Sir Arlen of Pennytree served over the years. Arlen served with House Florent when their lord was blinded, and he even fought alongside the previous lord of House Hayford when he was killed at the Battle of Redgrass Field, during which Arlen's own nephew died. But they do not remember one hedge knight among many who fought for them years ago. And then in the narrated flashback, Dunk recounts his rose-tinted high views of Arlen as a great knight. In truth, Arlen was a decent fighter, but is also shown to enjoy drinking and women. Far from a striking knight from popular romances, he was a slovenly wandering soldier who slept under roadside hedges much of his life. But he also trained Dunk as best he could in use of arms, and Dunk fondly remembers him singing traveling songs and sharing a laugh over quiet moments with him. We definitely got like a nicer look at him, or at least like what he thought of him. You know what I mean? This is definitely as being the narrator, like, and you kind of see as the episode goes on, some things I feel like are like the way he sees him in his mind, like it's unreliable narrator type deal in this story so far, bit, right? Because he kind of he puts him up on a pedestal, and it seems like the reality is he was not the best knight. I mean, he kind of lived his, but he clearly was happy. He seemed like he enjoyed life and for what it offered, and he didn't really come off as much of an asshole in this episode as I felt like he did in the first episode, like because they just showed him being mean to him. So I don't know again if this is just in his head that he thinks he's a good guy, but yeah, no, I liked him in this episode, like this little kind of view, like this little opening with him, so showing that they were able to have laughs even on like, as he was dying, and he was able to, like, it seemed like he tried to train him when he could and do stuff like that. And
yeah,
I don't know. I dug this in comparison to the first episode.
Yeah, like, but I think even we mentioned it in our chat about the first episode. I was like, he obviously feels like he was taken care of, or he feels like there was some like affection from Sir Arlen to Dunk, because like he talks about him even when they're showing him like smacking him upside the head for this, that, and whatever. It's like he has this affection for him, like, so you can, and he took care of him, he raised him, he did all the things. So I think like that just translated into this episode, but on a deeper scale. Like you said, we saw more of an emotional side, we saw more of a, I don't know, it was nice to see. It was different.
Yeah I find that, I don't know. This is like, what's that saying about how like God, like, forgives the idiots, or what the hell, that thing where like basically like shines, like, that phrase, I forgot how it goes, but it basically,
I kind of know what you're talking about, but I don't have the words for it. But like I get what you're saying. Like, it's
one of those things where like it seems like people are taking a shining to him. Like they're like, oh yeah, I like this kid. Like there's all these bad people, as we know, in this world, and yet he's kind of being given a lot of favors and like just going off of like good vibes here, like in these first couple of episodes. Like there's obviously people that are shitty to him as well, or assholes, but you're gonna get that. But it seems like there's also like there's a lot of people that are like that are liking this guy's vibe, it seems like, as well. Like, so
the opportunities are just based off his demeanor and just the way he's presenting himself. Like they're just presenting themselves back to him, like in ways that like probably wouldn't happen normally in that time.
Right. And so like, even in that sense, this is very different than everything we've seen from most characters in Game of Thrones. Right. Anyways, As they travel on the road to Ashford, an infected wound. Okay, Christina, yes, you're right. And Arlen's arm
we can call it syphilis if you want, Nico.
Was made worse. Well, listen, I saw him laying down with somebody. We don't know who, like, how clean that woman was at the starting scene.
Nobody's clean in this series. Like,
guy's got a huge hog, all right? They travel on the road to Ashford. An infected wound on Arlen's arm was made worse by a chill he caught in the rain. Arlen put on a brave face about it, but even Dirk realized his master's health was in serious decline, which before long led Arlen to die under the tree, where Dunk buried him the next day. So, yeah, we get that whole part at the start here. Back in the present, Dunk pleads to the last great lord present that Arlen served, Leo Tyrell, called Leo Longthorn, a gruff and skilled warrior. So you got some of the Tyrells here. Lord Leo pensively hears Dunk out while chewing sour leaf. So more on that later. Apparently that's something that's like chewing tobacco, I guess, in this world. I guess I just said it. That's in the notes, like the little bit of the facts that they provided on the website for this episode. Okay. They said that, I guess this is mentioned in the book. Like, it's basically like they're chewing tobacco, essentially, this sour leaf. Then he responds that he never knew Arlen. As Dunk walks away with his new squire, Egg, the boy wonders if Arlen really was a great knight when no one can remember him. Dunk insists he was, but Egg chides him for acting like these rude noblemen are his betters. Dunk admits that they are his betters, given their wealth, power, and years of training. Yeah, he's like, was he a shit knight? Or he just says he was a shit knight, I think, right?
He's been very good. If nobody can remember him.
I like the kid's demeanor, honestly. Like, I like him.
Oh, he's so cool. Like, such a cool little
yeah, very good. And then, the Targaryens arrive in this next scene. The entire tourney grounds are then stirred by the sounding of trumpets to announce the arrival of a royal delegation from House Targaryen. They're prominently carrying their red dragon banners. Aek grows nervous and says he should go back to their camp in the hedges to check on the horses to make sure no one has stolen them, to which Dunk agrees, and then sneaks along to Ashford Castle to see the royal princes. Yeah, so that was kind of cool to see all the Targaryens kind of rolling into the tournament here in this episode. A herald announces that the royal party is led by Crown Prince Baelor Targaryen, heir of King Daeron the Good, as well as his father's Hand of the King, and also Baelor's younger brother Maekar Targaryen. Maekar, yeah. Baelor greets Lord Ashford courteously, who introduced him to his maiden daughter, Gwyn Ashford, in whose honor the tourney is being held. He's staring at the royals, Dunk, and then an arrogant Targaryen princeling rides by and in a bored tone tells him to see to his horse. The princeling is one of Maekar's sons, Aerion Targaryen, Aerion. Embarrassed, Dunk explains he isn't a stable boy, for which the princeling mocks that he must not have been clever enough, so he asks for wine and a wench. Dunk again apologizes that he isn't a servant at the castle, only a knight who entered into the tourney, to which Aerion glibly remarks that knighthood has fallen on sad times. So right off the bat, he's an asshole, this kid.
Well, yeah, I in my reading up on the episode and stuff, they said that Aerion is known as Aerion, or the Monstrous, and he's very similar to what Viserys was, like Viserys being Daenerys's brother in Game of Thrones, not Viserys the king, but he was one of those Targaryens that believed he was a dragon in human form. And so I guess that'll be interesting to see what his role is in the rest of the show. But yeah, he's very much of that pompous, arrogant Targaryen bloodline.
Yeah.
So
yeah, very much so. One of the Targaryen horses gets spooked from the large crowd of unfamiliar people and kicks a man in the face. You got to watch out for that. That's
I think they'd know better. It's only mode of transportation, really. Come on now.
I know, you don't hang out behind the horse like that. And see, that guy most likely dead, gets kicked in the face. So Dunk pulls it aside inside a stable to calm it down. He is surprised when he turns around and is approached by two knights of the Targaryen Kingsguard wearing their signature stunning all-white armor. Sir Donnell of Duskendale apologizes to Dunk for Aerion's rude behavior, though Sir Roland Crakehall is more dismissive. Sir Donnell tells Dunk that Roland is also arrogant because he is a highborn, but Donnell himself is not. He is not a member of the House Starklin that rule Duskendale, but the son of a crabber. This gives Dunk some renewed hope he can advance in this world. So, spotting a serving woman entering through a side door, he follows her to sneak into the castle and plead his case there. Yeah, this is also when he's like, "Tell me, Sir Duncan, is there a proper place to shit around here?"
Hilarious. Again,
he's like, not really.
Hilarious.
I just walks off to find a place to shit. That's rough. I mean, if you're back then, you're kind of traveling by horse. You're going town to town. You can't just you got to shit on the side of the road somewhere. It's not like they have outhouses or fucking bathrooms.
Or just find a tree and aim. You know?
So these guys aren't used to that. So he's like, what the hell? He's like, no place to shit. He's pretty pissed off about that.
Not even just a regular place to poop. It's like a good place.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about? A good place? Like
no such thing.
Again, it just brings like that comedy factor because it's, they're bringing it in. It's just like, oh yeah, don't forget this isn't like super dramatic. Oh, it's like there's a little bit of comedy here. Like,
yeah, you get your usual kind of Game of Thrones.
It's potty humor, literally, but it's funny.
You get the Game of Thrones exchange, and they kind of bring you right back in with these one-liners, these zingers. Because then there's another kid that comes up behind him. He's like, "Are you Baelor Targaryen?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Then where did you move the fuck out of the way?" He's got the horse.
Yeah.
So then you get inside Ashford Castle. Lord Ashford receives Baelor and Maekar in his study while Dunk watches from behind a grated door. Okay, so one of the things you did send in the chat though was that amalgamation of different memes, representing what happened in the episode using different things as reference.
Spoilers with no reference. Yeah.
That one was the best because literally I'm like, look at the size of this guy. This guy isn't hiding from anybody. He's just he's like this. The guy looks over at him and sees him right away. He's like, "The fuck are you doing over there?" But
you there? Why are you spying on us? And they're just oh.
He's as tall as the doorway. And he's just hunched over trying to do one of these.
Yeah.
Side profile things. Hilarious.
Yeah.
He overhears them arguing about Maekar's other sons, Darren and Aegon. Gwyn Ashford comes up behind Dunk to listen in as well and whispers that the two princes have gone missing. There is fear that they might be dead and wars have started over less. She then playfully swats her hand at Dunk, calls him stupid, and hurries away. So again, for everything we know of these Targaryens, this is right up their alley for hijinks with their family. There's it's so, I just think again, this rings true to what you would expect from even in this moment in time. Their kids are giving them troubles, right? It seems like these two. So that was kind of, I thought, interesting because coming off a House of the Dragon, I was like, oh yeah, okay, and then this is the point where there's only one known dragon alive still, right? They don't even have
so they haven't even really mentioned dragons yet or at all.
In the play they did. They said
in the play they did, but it's not confirmed when this dragon, when this play was being, it's not confirmed. I feel like they're talking about Balerion, the Dread, the Black Dread.
And then I should add the stuff that I'm saying, when they're setting up a lot of these scenes, sometimes they do add extra information in for context to kind of know what the relation is with these characters. They're not necessarily actually doing that work for you in the show. They're just saying,
absolutely
this
not.
is so-and-so, and then they just kind of move on. But these notes kind of, I will say, help arrange that by saying this is this guy, he's related to this dude. It's not like they're sitting there and telling you that through their characters, right? So
no. Yeah. Actually, speaking of this scene and these characters, one of the fun facts I found, I didn't realize it was this far in advance or this connected, but Maekar, one of the guys in the scene, he has the blonde Targaryen hair. He's there. One of his sons is Aemon Targaryen, who was the Maester, on the wall in Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Maester
yeah,
Aemon.
yeah.
He was this
Yep.
guy's son.
Yeah, the blind one. Yeah, I'm looking him up right now. Yeah, this dude here.
Yeah.
I know it's a
Aemon
bad.
Targaryen.
The glare is killing it, but yeah, he's
Yeah,
the
he was
old
kind
dude.
of like a mentor
He's
for
in the
Jon
Night Watch.
Snow.
Yeah, he's in the
Yes.
Night Watch. He's the blind one who yeah, he is like the oldest guy on that show, like that we know of. I feel like, other than like, you know, the ice people, they like the actual
Yeah, the children of the forest and stuff like that. But like,
which are ancients. But that's that is like the oldest guy. That's really cool. I didn't realize that, actually.
yeah. So
Oh,
there's a Game of Thrones connection there. Like, I don't know if we'll see a young Aemon, maybe I don't know, but he is, I think, the third son, because Maekar has 4 sons, 2 of which are missing that we just heard about, and Aemon is another one.
Yeah, that's good to know. I didn't catch that. I assumed like there had to be somebody that was still alive during this time to make the link between both shows, right? But but it's all, I wasn't sure, right? But yeah, that guy is old in the Game of Thrones, though.
Yeah, because this takes place about 100 years or 90 years or something before Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
So
I think it's 80. I think it is 80
it's something like that. Yeah. So
so she then I said that Baelor tries to calm his brother and Maekar's fear, saying that Darren has been gone wandering off before, and the Kingsguard will likely turn them up before too long. Baelor wonders why Maekar instead insisted on bringing his sons, given that they have as much place in attorney as their own absent brothers, Aerys and Rhaegal. Maekar accuses that Baelor is insinuating Daeron is better suited to riding a whore than a horse, though Baelor tactfully tries to deny it, yet Maekar insists that Daeron will prove himself at the tournament.
Right.
So yeah, that whole conversation's happening between these characters. Just then, Maekar notices that Dunk is listening in on them from the door and demands that he stop spying. Nervous with fear, in the presence of some of the most powerful men in Westeros, Dunk comes forward and says he was hoping to speak with them. He explains that the master of the game said he could only compete if he could find a lord who could vouch they knew Sir Arlen. But Dondarrion and then all the others said they didn't remember him. His final long shot hope is that Baelor himself might remember Arlen, as he told Dunk he jousted with him many years ago. Baelor politely recalls that Arlen never won a tourney he ever heard of, but he never shamed himself either, and indeed he remembers facing Arlen in a joust years before held at Storm's End. Baelor also recounts that years before that, in a different tourney, Arlen unhorsed the Grey Lion of House Lannister. Baelor asked Dunk to prove his knowledge about Arlen by asking if he knows the Grey Lion's real name, and after a moment's thought, he correctly recalls that he is Daemon Lannister, currently the Lord of Casterly Rock. Yeah, like this is, again, they're connecting all the dots.
Tons of name dropping, lots of connections, like, you know.
I mean, they're mentioning Casterly Rock. They're mentioning the fact that a Lannister is still there, obviously, at this time.
So this, like, if we're talking timeline, this Daemon Lannister, he must be Tywin's dad.
There is a bit about that in here, yes.
Right? Like, he must be Tywin's dad.
It's either his dad or his grandfather. It says it in here. We'll get to it, I think, in a moment, because I think it did mention it in the notes. But yeah, that's very, again, just a connection to Game of Thrones here, like, which,
I love family trees.
Yeah, really. I really like this scene too, because there's like that moment where the guy's like, sword and a shield do not make you a knight. And he like looks in the direction of him, and he like, that one guy ignores him, the one that's going off, Damon or whatever his name is. Is that who? No, Maekar. Yeah, he's the one that freaks out. Like he's like pissed off, obviously, because of the Suns thing, right? So that guy, he like completely ignores that guy that makes that joke.
He's just like one of those typical rude Targaryens that just like whatever, you know.
How can you possibly remember some fucking hedge knight that unhorsed David Lannister 16 years ago? He's just like, what are you talking about? How do you know this guy? Right? He's talking about. He's like, he kind of is just like, get out of here already, right? Like, even when he gets what he wants, he's like, all right, yeah, you're very grateful. No, fuck off. Like, get out of here. Baylor notes fondly that Arlen acquitted himself well in their joust, breaking 4 lances against him before Baylor finally unhorsed him. Baylor demanded no ransom from Arlen, as was his right as victor, but freely gave the poor hedge knight back his horse and armor. Dunk recalls that Arlen always said that Baylor had the true spirit of chivalry and Westeros would be in good hands when he became king. He smiles and says, hopefully that day won't be coming too soon, realizing Baylor would only become king after his father, King Daeron, dies. Dunk grows even more flustered and profusely apologizes, not wishing to antagonize them. Baylor kindly tells Plummer, the games master, that he sees no reason not to add him to the list.
Yeah.
As Dunk turns to leave, Baylor reminds Dunk that he was not of Sir Arlen's blood, and thus by law doesn't have the right to continue bearing his personal
sigil and
heraldry on his shield. So then he basically says you have to kind of create a new one because you can't play under, his banner essentially on the shield. He'll have to get his shield repainted. And then he basically goes out of the room, goes the wrong direction, like sheepishly, and then just like, oh,
very clumsy.
Yeah. I liked this scene. This is a good scene because, like, not only did they kind of show you again, like, how these people are connected and the Lannisters and stuff like that. Again, like, he just got lucky by knowing a little bit about that his master there, like, is the knight, enough to kind of get him through the door. And this guy kind of almost took pity on him as a result as well. Like, there's a lot of people that are kind of just giving him a chance, like taking a chance on this guy so far in this show. Like, even amongst, they could have killed him right there. Like, what are you doing sneaking into, even though, like, even he was like, we're the guests here. Like, he has every right to be in this room as we do. Like, we're the ones that are kind of coming to this tournament. But also, again, unreliable narrator syndrome, because he's trying to correct him by saying, like, yeah, no, he wasn't that good. Like, whatever he said to you about this story, Arlen, but let's get it straight. But yes, I remember the guy. Right. So that kind of knocked him down a peg, it seemed like, because again, in his eyes, he's much better than he was, or at least.
Yeah, I wonder if Dunk, like, because he's so large in size. I just had this thought. I'm like, I wonder, because like we keep going, like, and it's true, like he has, the luck of the Irish or something on his side. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. This episode, I wonder if, like, it's because he's so large. Like, if he was just a regular sized man, like if he was like 5'10" versus 6'6", like,
right,
would people think him something special?
No.
Or is it just because he's so big that it's like, oh yeah, I want to see what this guy can do?
Mm-hmm. I think that definitely gives them a slight advantage. Yes. His attitude, his personality doesn't match up to, like, the size of him. That's for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Very unassuming, and like he's not like what you would envision of a guy like all the other big characters.
Yeah,
like,
they've all been monsters.
Even like some of the most larger than life characters on the show too haven't actually been big people, like, you know what I mean, like, as well, like in that sense, they're just, they're still scared.
Hodor was probably like the nicest bigger guy, like, like on the show, like before Dunk so far. But
oh, and what's his name, that guy was fucking huge too. The Mountain and
well, that's what I mean, like those guys, like they were monsters, like they were evil. They were not like nice people, like
but
I don't know, we'll see.
Dunk, then there's even a part when he's leaving, he's like, I will fight bravely, you'll see. Like, he keeps like kind of like reassuring others around him and himself, because you clearly could tell he's going through it. Even comments later in the episode that he's kind of showing that he doesn't believe in himself, but like he's trying to actually make an effort, right, and actually get involved and make a go at it, right? So, which I respect in that sense. Dunk then reunites with Aeg at the Dornish puppet show, giving an elaborate performance recounting the legend of Jonquil and Florian the Fool. It is very impressive, with man-sized and highly decorated puppets moved by players hidden under all black clothes, while Tansel plays Jonquil herself in a large stilt suit with wooden arms. Aeg and the other children in the crowd are in awe, as are the adults. Pretty impressive looking puppet, that thing. Yeah, it was like a life-size thing that they were moving around. And I mean, these are good produced plays, clearly, for this time, right? Between that and the other one that they did, I feel like in the last episode, like they're pretty good. I mean, that's like their source of entertainment. They didn't have television, so it's kind of, they clearly are putting a lot of work into this, right? To kind of to do this. After the show, Dunk awkwardly approaches Tansel with Egg in tow and asks if she makes the puppets herself. She says that her uncle makes them. She only paints them, though the paintings are quite detailed. After Dunk introduces himself, she basically mentions that when she was growing up, the boys always teased her as Tansel too tall due to her great height. The well over 6 feet tall Dunk, however, is smitten to encounter a beautiful girl who is also so tall he wouldn't need to bend down on one knee to kiss her. He could only blurt out that she's not too tall, but just the right height before trailing off. And the looks that Egg is giving him in this scene are fantastic. He's like, come on, dude. Like, you are not smooth
really
at all. Yeah. He's like, this guy's hopeless, like eye rolls and everything. It's hilarious. I honestly, it was very, very funny.
Very well played by this tiny little actor. Like, so
absolutely,
good.
Absolutely. He's doing so much by like just reacting to the scene, right?
Yeah.
She asked what he thinks if she's the right height for her, but then Egg, disgusted at the love struck oaf, interjects and says she's just the right height for puppets. And then, Dunk, he basically says he wants to hire her to repaint his shield with his new heraldry. But when she asks what design he'd like, he realizes he hadn't put any thought into it. He says it should be a sunset orange field for Sir Arlen, who always loves sunsets. Egg then says to add a green elm tree. There you go. JT got his tree once again into the plot. He's got some sort of tree representation.
Fetish.
This is Game of Thrones. After the one where he made his camp as a hedge knight, Dunk agrees, then also says it should add a shooting star over the tree as he saw his first night at the tourney and it helped signal his good luck. Yeah. Dunk apologizes that he must seem quite the fool, but quoting Jonquil in the play, she says that all men are fools and all men are knights when it comes to women. So there you go.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah. No comment. But I actually heard like trees are really important in Game of Thrones, and I know JT's obsessed with them, and we always like roll our eyes and like give him so much crap about it. But I did actually see a reference that like the importance of trees is actually tenfold in this series.
Great.
Because it's like trees are part of like every major like thing or something, and it's often it's almost like Dunk is like the human representation of a tree
because of his size.
He's so sturdy and reliable and whatever, and him just being a hedge knight and having to do with nature. They sleep outdoors, like it's very, he's like the human embodiment of a tree.
Sure.
I'm so glad JT's not on this because like we would never be able to move on. Like you'd have to bring out that old line, moving on.
Well, I mean, I'm upset that he's not with us here for whatever reason here today. He wasn't able to make it.
100%. Yeah.
But I know what you're saying because we never hear the end of the tree. But also, like he actually also acquired a book very recently, which I guess I'll have to show you the next time he's on. But on the book, and it's like an index of like it's like a summary of like all the characters in Game of Thrones. Essentially, I know he picked up a book recently, and on the book it has that tree on the cover of the book. It just says Game of Thrones, and there's this badass like tree on the cover. So yeah, he'll have to show that off whenever he comes back on the show here. So maybe next time. So. Very, very cool looking book, and the trees continue. And so then as they sit outside another 10 afterwards, the pair watches a tug of war game. Dunk asks if that clearly embarrassing situation was handled. Egg notes that she did agree to paint a shield, but Dunk cites that she agreed to do it for money, regardless of what she thinks about him. Egg commiserates that Dunk shouldn't feel too bad about himself and wonders if he'll even be a knight one day, because unlike Dunk, he is very small, even relative to other boys his age. Dunk responds that people used to say he was stupid before leaving it at that.
This scene was so funny.
Again, I don't know, like they have really good chemistry, these two characters, and you kind of need you need to obviously these two characters in this story because they're the
Yeah.
focus, right? But like, I don't know. It's just it seems like it's coming so natural. I know some people complain about kid actors sometimes and having to work with them because not everybody can actually can work with kid actors well enough. It seems like you hear things about that sometimes about like productions and stuff like that. Sometimes people having trouble with that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, this kid's great. I don't know what he did before this, if anything, but he's like a natural.
He's like a natural. Yeah, he
Yeah,
just has that like, I don't know, like he embodies the character. I don't know. It's perfect. Perfect casting. Whoever casted him was like, it was perfect.
Yes. Yeah, no, very good. They have very good chemistry. Aig is confused as he thought Dunk was about to encourage him that one day he wouldn't be small anymore. They are then interrupted by Lionel Baratheon inviting the large Dunk to join his side of the rope in the tug of war. Aig also joins in at the very front and nearly gets pulled into the mud, only avoiding it by pulling up his legs to hang from the rope by all fours. That was awesome, that tug of war scene. And Lionel, of course, he leaves the line to get more boost at one point. Then he comes back in at the end to save the day. But he puts smartly enough set that he puts the Hedge Knight there, Duncan on the end. He's like the anchor of it.
You're the anchor, yeah.
Yeah. And then like that kid, I love that the Aig jumped in there too. Like, no hesitation. He's in the mix, right? It's great stuff.
Yeah. Another fun fact about this, a lot of this scene was not scripted.
Oh, really? Like they were just kind of screwing around on set, or
Lionel Baratheon walking out was not scripted. Like it was a total like ad lib, whatever.
That's
awesome.
And
Aig lifting his feet and like hanging off the rope was also not scripted. That was totally like off the cuff. And apparently George R.R. Martin was on set for the day of this filming of this scene or whatever, and I think that's why they kind of did it to like add, and he loved it. He had a great time apparently on the set.
Well, yeah, because he probably like was immersing himself into the world he created in that sense. Like if they were just kind of going off and just doing stuff off script like that, he was probably of course he'd be delighted. He's like, wow, look at this. Like I'm like I'm here. Like I'm in one of my books, right? Like that'd be fun, honestly. Yeah, that's really cool. I did not know that. That's an interesting tidbit. I love when Lionel runs up though, and he's like, "You Hedge Knight, I need muscle. Will you heed my call to war?" And he like grabs him again. Just takes a liking to this guy. Like I like that character a lot. By the way, I think he's really cool, that character. But
the Baratheon,
Lionel
Baratheon,
yeah, just like a party animal. It seems like, but like again, he seems like, again, he likes this kid. Like, I don't know, like it's something about him. Like he just took a liking to him. So, right. So, so anyways, as the day turns into evening, Dunk seeks out the blacksmith's row at the tourney grounds to purchase a full suit of armor for himself. He comes across the stall of Steely Pate, noting that his examples on display are good work. Yeah. He says he makes sturdy and reliable armor. It might not be as impressive looking as nobleman's armor covered in elaborate moldings of exotic animals and fruits, but it's more functional and more than likely will keep a man alive if he takes a lance to the head. He tells Dunk that a suit of plain good armor for a man his size will cost 800 silver stags. Not having nearly that much, he asks if he can trade in Sir Arlen's old helm and chainmail, which do not fit him. He says he doesn't resell work by other armorers, but he could make use of the metal if he reforged it, but that would only bring the price down to 600 silver stags. Realizing he will have to sell one of his 3 horses, Dunk gives him the 2 silver stags he had on hand as down payment and says he'll be back with the rest the next day. Dunk then goes to the master of horse at Ashford Castle and sells Sweetfoot, Sir Arlen's horse that was close to him as family.
Oh, is that what her name is?
Yeah, apparently her name's Sweetfoot. This was a sad moment. Yeah, Christine, when she was watching this, was just like really upset by like him having to turn in his horse. But I was just like, hey, he's got 3 horses, right? But I guess
why that one?
I know. Well, he's not gonna give his horse. I think Arlen must have had 2 horses, right? Because now Aig has, or does he ride with him on his horse? I don't even know. Like
so yeah, like he was on the brown one, like when Arlen was alive, but since Arlen passed, he rides the white one.
Oh,
which is Sweetfoot.
Well, that was it was. I feel like he'll be back for her. Honestly, yeah.
He said that to her too.
Yeah.
Like he's like, when I make the money back, I'll come back and buy you.
He gives him money to get him give him good food that night and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it was
oats and an apple.
Yeah. Sir Arlen's horse that was close to him as family. He gives the stable boy a few extra coins to make sure he gets an apple, and he promises Sweetfoot that after he wins the tourney, he'll have enough money to buy her back.
Yeah.
Dunk then sits down with Egg in another tent for a drink of ale while the boy has a cider, which I think he says a fly went into his cider.
There's
right?
a bug in my cup or my cider.
And he says he hopes he has some chance of advancement at this tournament. He doesn't even need to be the final champion. Simply win one jousting tilt, as even being champion for 1 hour before losing the next round might still get him noticed by one of the lordly houses that have come to the tourney looking for recruits. Dunk says that if he's very lucky, he might even impress the royal house Targaryen into hiring him as a household knight. Egg grows nervous and says the Dragon House isn't likely to hire mere hedge knights. Dunk retorts that Sir Donnell of the Kingsguard started out as a crabber's son. Surprised, Egg says that Sir Donnell's family, while not noble-born, still own half the crabbing fleets in Westeros, are in fact quite wealthy. Dunk asks how he knows that, and Egg meekly responds that he likes fishing. Just another great moment. I could see these two just like chopping it up like this all day. It's
all day, just back and forth. Yeah. It's amazing.
They are then interrupted, however, by horns announcing that the joust has begun. And then, we're basically just coming into the final scenes here now. At the whim of Lord Ashford to impress his royal guests, the first round of jousting is unusually held at night, but lit by large bonfires. 5 different pairs of riders tilt at each other simultaneously along parallel lanes. Among them are Lionel Baratheon, Leo Tyrell, and Medgar Tully, along with riders from House Ashford and House Hightower. Egg sits atop Dunk's large shoulders so he can see from the crowd and notes that Baelor's eldest son and heir, Valar Targaryen, are also competing in this round. This was probably the most action I feel like we've seen in this show so far, obviously, because they do have a jousting tournament in this scene, which is cool because, like, I feel like we didn't really spend too much time with that in Game of Thrones. We got some stuff like that, but mostly like fights to the death, I feel like, in Game of Thrones more
battle by combat or something.
Yeah, there's more of that going on than this.
Trial by combat. Sorry.
Yeah, because what was the only other time I can really remember was when Joffrey became, I think, king, and then they did a tournament. And that was when what's his name got taken out too from the Pedro Pascal's character, I think, right? Was that during that time? Oh yeah, well, I think that was around that.
No, that was Cersei, because
was that Cersei when she
became because Cersei had the Mountain be her champion for the trial by combat, and I think it was not Tyrion who asked Oberyn, and Oberyn's like, because the Mountain raped Lyanna or did something with or with his sister,
because his birthday celebration, Joffrey's, that ended up with him dying. But like, I think
that was the wedding with
but he did have a tournament of some sort at some point, did he not? Am I just misremembering?
I think he, like, in the beginning when after he did, because
I feel like they did at some point. Yeah, there was a moment, I feel like, because they had a tournament at some point, but I think again it just resulted in people like fighting to the death. Like, I feel like I don't remember. There was the moment where the Mountain, isn't that when he had to face his brother before he left King's Landing at one point during a tournament?
Yeah, I feel like you're
that was
right.
Early then. I think that was like the first season of Game of Thrones or something.
Season 2, like
1 or 2. Yeah. See, I'm misremembering because
I think it must have been 2, because at the end of 1, that's when Ned was like, and like.
Yeah, I think you're right, because I'm misremembering, because like I'm just literally thinking of like every time they got together for some sort of a celebration, right? Because there wasn't many, I feel like, on that show. Because
actually, House of the Dragon, like season 1 opened with the tournament that they were having.
Yeah, when they're kids. That's right. She's like in love with Buddy there. Who she ends up, that's
Kristen
right.
Cole.
Yeah, that's right. That's
right. And she throws like the wreath, or he asks for a favor or something, and Alicent gives the other one. Anyways, that was in honor of the king's the queen had gone into labor or something, and they had already planned this like whole thing for the birth of the next Targaryen, which was a boy, but they didn't know it was a boy, and they just, anyways, yeah, that was in House of the Dragon.
Right. So yeah, there's been
There's
other
been a little smattering of it, but
Yeah.
nothing like focused on
No,
this.
which this season has been, I feel like, more.
And
so.
then when Brienne like had to face the bear, that was also, wasn't that like a tournament too of some sort?
Yes, I think you're right. Yeah, so there's clearly more times than we were remembering, at least offhand. But again, I don't know if to this focus, like that, the degree that this.
No,
is,
definitely not. No, there was a bigger storyline in Game of Thrones and even House of the Dragon that didn't revolve around like this stuff. But look at us recalling things from.
That's all you. I'm barely remembering anything.
Wow, I can't believe my brain works like so.
Hats off to you for that. Yeah. Let's see here. At the whim of Lord Ashford to impress his royal guests, the first round of jousting is unusually held at night with large bonfires. Five different pairs I mentioned. Among them are Lionel Baratheon, Leo Tyrell, and Medgar Tully, along with riders from House Ashford and House Hightower. Aeg sits atop Dunk's large shoulder so he can see from the crowd and notes that Baelor's eldest son and heir Valar Targaryen is also competing in this round. The joust begins with the thundering of hooves and cracks of lances against shields. Several lances splinter, but squires quickly hand fresh ones to the riders. A few men are on horse, but manage to avoid being trampled by quickly rolling out of the lanes. The crowd is filled with riotous applause at the spectacle. Dunk himself is enthusiastic at first, but as the competition goes on, his mood grows more serious. As he realizes how skilled these trained and experienced knights are, he begins to fear that he might not only lose his horse and weapons in the dangerous jousting, but lose his life as well. He has like a panic attack or something, it seems like, in this scene, right?
I would.
Yeah, I know. Now you're finally seeing it, right? In action.
Yeah, you had no idea what you're getting yourself into because all you hear is stories and tales, but now it's like, oh.
Exactly. You're like in the thick of it now. At the end of the night, the pair return to their camp in the hedges outside of town, having been very excited by the jousting. Aeg play fights with a stick against imaginary enemies, and after vanquishing them, demands if the Blackfire bastards will yield Dunk. However, has been brooding over his own serious thoughts. He shares with Aeg that he now admits Arlen wasn't a truly great knight. Great knights don't sleep under hedges, live to be almost 60 years old without winning a single tourney, then die by the side of a lonely road, unremembered by the entire world except for his lowly squire. He wasn't some chivalrous knight from romantic tales, but drank and whored and was covered in dirt from muddy back roads. But Dunk concludes that even if Arlen wasn't a great man, he was still good to him and raised him as his own, saving Dunk from life as a street orphan. Dunk says that he is Sir Arlen's only legacy left in this world, and tomorrow all will see and judge what Sir Arlen's hand has wrought. So he really has like a realization there finally at the end of the episode. I feel like that we've all been waiting for as viewers, maybe, as everyone's reacted the way they have, right? But again, at the end of the day, it doesn't change his thoughts towards the man, right, that he was, or what he did for him in his eyes.
Right.
So yeah, I liked that. I like it was a good note to end on.
It was almost like full circle. Like, you know, like he started with these fond memories of this person, but then there's meaning to the memories and, you know, a purpose, you know. I think he was like lost for a purpose, and especially if he didn't have the favor or the permission to join the tournament, like what was he going to do like with himself after that? But he has the permission, he has the validation, so let's do this kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I in which, you know, the fact that they got to all that within like, you know, the first two episodes, I thought like you said, like a full kind of circle moment for the character to come to that realization here. I'm kind of glad that they didn't drag that on for the entire season in the way
they don't have the time. Like there's only 6 episodes. Like it's only 6 episode season. So
yeah, so the pacing really has to be a lot different in the show for it to pay off. So yeah, so I think that's a good place to end this episode with this scene. And it looks like I guess we're gonna be getting him in the tourney in the next episode, possibly, like the way it's looking, right? This is on I guess the night or so before like he actually is able to enter, it seems like. So he just needs to make sure to get his shield back, and then he's got his armor that's being made for him. So maybe by episode 4, next episode, he might still be running around doing shit. I don't know. But the way things are looking like is that yeah, his turn's coming up, it seems like, right? So
yeah.
So that's good episode. Let's quickly get into some other factoids here before we wrap up, if you're okay with that. I got some other stuff off the wiki of Westeros that they put out here. Some interesting stuff. The end credits give the dedication in memory of Aziza Barnes. Apparently, Barnes co-wrote this episode, but committed suicide only a month before the episode was released at the age of 32. Yeah,
that's awful.
Yeah, it is. But
that's so sad.
Worth noting, because I wouldn't have known that either unless I had these notes here that on the website, because sometimes it's just by passing away that they'll give a shout out to like a creator, but this was like because of that, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah, this episode makes even more use of flashbacks than the premiere. I guess in some show that they do like one of those talking shows about this, I guess, or they put out videos where they talk about the episode and the creation of it.
Oh, like the after show or something like that, but not the after, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm guessing so, because it's called inside the episode video. Showrunner Ira Parker says the frequent use of flashbacks is how we were going to differentiate ourselves from the previous shows in the franchise pretty quickly. So so clearly this is, we picked up on that. That is kind of like what they're going for. They talk about the cold opens here in a moment as well. Okay. Ira Parker starts that, mentioned that also inside the episode video, explaining that they gave Sir Arlen a gigantic prosthetic penis in the cold open because the rest of the episode is spent shitting on him. So they wanted to give him something like to be remembered by.
That makes it even better. Right? Like,
because
it was already funny to start, and then that's even better.
I thought that was pretty great. Yeah, finding that out. Humanizing that he wasn't the great knight Dunk saw him as, because he was a squire, but just an average man trying to make his way in the world. Game of Thrones season 1, I did not realize this, also made use of an oversized prosthetic penis for Hodor, of all people. I do not remember this.
What?
Yeah. He's like, hold the door. I got a giant dick.
Why don't you use that as a door stopper then, buddy?
Yeah, exactly. So apparently Hodor, they gave him a giant prosthetic penis in season 1 of Game of Thrones, which I do not remember.
Season 1?
That's what it says here. Not simply large because Hodor is tall, but even relative to Hodor's body size, apparently. So it wasn't like this one that like hit the ground. In contrast, in House of the Dragon season 2's Burning Mill, who would have known we had so much facts about prosthetic penises here? Ewan Mitchell was offered to use a prosthetic penis in a full frontal nudity scene for Aemon Targaryen, but he declined. Remember when he's nude in season 2?
Oh yeah, it was like the Voldemort chicken wing.
Yes. Remember how much we talked about that? That was like in the whorehouse when we see this. Apparently,
Aegon
that's all him.
Whorehouse.
That's apparently all him, which that's, I guess, brave of him. Because they offered to give him a giant hog prosthetic too, apparently, and he said no.
That's so interesting. Imagine being like, would you like this prosthetic? And it's just like, shut up. Ew. Yeah. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, if it was like something like of like this stature that they had in this episode, then sure. But if it was like relative to like what I already would have, and I'm an actor,
I probably add an inch or two. Yeah, it's like, shut up. Like, what? Disrespect.
So very, very cool. That's
I'm actually glad he turned it down.
Yeah, makes it more real.
Down, because like obviously House of the Dragon is way more serious, and Aemon is so serious. Like I couldn't even imagine him having a huge knocker like that. Like there's no way, just swinging around. Like I would never be able to look at him. Like his hair was long enough. Like he didn't need anything else.
No, I think that was the right choice. Several members of House Targaryen in this era are introduced on screen or mentioned in dialogue within this episode. Names repeat in dynasties, so several of them share names with Targaryens from other eras. Baelor and Maekar mention their other two brothers, Aerys and Rhaegal.
Oh, I dropped my mic. Whoops.
It's all right. Baelor is himself named after the earlier King Baelor the Blessed, who built the Great Sept of Baelor. To distinguish them, this character is nicknamed Baelor Breakspear, apparently.
Wasn't Baelor the name of the son that Viserys had with Aemma?
I think you're right, yeah.
That's what they named him? Yeah. And like that's the one that they buried with Aemma, like in childbirth?
I think you're right, yeah. It's mentioned in dialogue that the current king on the Iron Throne is Daeron the Good. His eldest son, Baelor, is both his heir and hand of the king. Daeron the Good also has a grandson named after him, Maekar's missing son that he discusses with Baelor. Both of these Daerons are distinct from Alicent Hightower's youngest son, Daeron, mentioned in House of the Dragon season 2 and set to appear in season 3. Remember you had talked about that?
Oh yeah, he was the one that had been sent off. Like we
never seen that other son. Remember, you're like, where's this other kid? And then so that's who they're referring to here. Apparently he is going to be appearing in season 3, even though he's just mentioned in season 2. So
oh yeah, because he was good. Yeah, they said he's good.
On top of this,
damn.
On top of this, Daeron the Good is actually Daeron the Second, as he was named after his father's cousin, Daeron the Young Dragon, who briefly conquered Dorne. Daeron is a relatively common name in the Targaryen dynasty, though not as much as Aegon. Maekar, in fact, has another son named Aegon. They love using the same names, these guys, right? They're like Aegon the Third, like all these names are all similar names of Targaryens, right?
Like, if you think about it, like we still do that to this day.
Yeah, no, very true. Yeah, very true.
Do that to this day, especially traditionally. Like you name your especially your sons like after your dad or your grandparent.
My name is my grandfather's name. Yeah, so there you
go. So there you go. Right, like my husband's named after his grandfather as well, and so on and so forth. It's just like just what you do. You still do it. It's interesting.
Very true. These are just such like specific names, right? Like names of a different time here that we're busting out here. And fantasy based, of course. As will be explained in later episodes, Baelor Breakspear and his son Valar Targaryen do not have the signature silver white hair of the Targaryens.
Well, okay, so that's what I noticed, and again, my husband was just like, "How come he's Targaryen? He doesn't have the blonde hair?" And I was like, "Well,
yeah." So
I don't want to look too much into it, but
I was about to say, I'm probably not going to get into it, but because it says that they are going to get into it in future episodes, but I did want to make reference to it because it does say here, and it kind of explains the reason behind that, like why that is, right? So I try to be careful about some of the things they reveal in these facts because they're also comparing stuff to the book. And then the book sometimes will add some extra context, but then other times it'll spoil things, I feel like, that aren't being featured in the episodes, right? So, again, we talked about this last episode. The currency system of Westeros is, again, featured very prominently in this episode. Steely there, the blacksmith, says that a full suit of plain but functional armor will cost 800 silver stags. Dunk only has 2 silver stags on him, so he has to sell one of his horses. But then the camera prominently focuses on the prop silver coins as Dunk hands them over to him. So again, very interesting. I don't know why they continue to make that such a center focus of these episodes, just us knowing the currency of I actually have a whole nother thing of currency here in a moment. If you're getting real nerdy here in a second.
Yeah.
A few lines were cut from the novella when Dunk sells his horse Sweetfoot to get the money he needs to buy the armor. This is
money to me.
This is important because it's the only time in any of the books or novellas so far that establishes the exchange rate between different coin denominations. Okay, so strap in. Here we go. Dunk sells a horse for 750 silver stags and gets paid in the form of 3 gold dragons and the rest in silver. This confirms the semi-canon exchange rate that was first given in an RPG game, which Martin sent some of his notes. So this is the only other time, apparently, that this has been mentioned before, this denomination, because in the RPG game, I guess you got to buy stuff. So yeah, apparently that was the only time, because he like works on the games and stuff like that too, that this was apparently mentioned. He sent these notes and they took these notes and used it in this episode, I guess. One gold dragon equals 210 silver stags, and one silver stag equals 56 copper pennies. If he had been given 4 gold dragons, it would have equaled 840 silver stags and overpaid him. So instead, he was given 3 gold dragons and the rest in silvers, which would mean 750 minus 630 equals 120 silver coins. I know it's hard to follow, but basically, yeah, the gold coins are like a couple hundred stags each, and then in order to kind of reach like something where it's like 750 instead of like 650 or whatever, 600, he had to give him a bunch of silver coins, which are like worth $1 each, it seems like, in that sense. Okay. So that's interesting. I think it's interesting that this, like, it's such a focus of this
show. So much more alive. It's like the equivalent of like them learning like High Valyrian or something like that. Like, it's like, instead of like focusing on language, now they're focusing on other parts of the world that like people can now add to their like cosplay dreams. Like,
yeah, really.
You know, it's not just the language. It's like, oh, now we can have a whole currency system.
That's
like, we can barter at our medieval festivals, like, now, and dragon, gold dragons and silver stags.
I'm sure there's people that do like that use like Game of Thrones as a backdrop in terms of like Dungeons and Dragons type of
100%, yeah,
campaigns and stuff in that game, right? Like, I've never played that, but I'm sure that information like this that he had used in a game has already probably been used within the community of, like, you know what I mean, like in terms of gaming and stuff for this world. And then
they're focusing on it a lot, so it's like this is just going to add like extra like background to something that is so often overlooked.
That's right.
Everything and anything else,
because in those other shows everyone's rich. Like, we're seeing all these rich people and they're all have like these vaults of gold. It seems like their money, I mean, like there's moments where they talked about, obviously there's people that don't have money in the show, and then there's also times where, you know, was it the Lannisters that were like in all this debt towards all these people, and like Cersei had to like go to the banker, that like the main bank of the Westeros, and basically like he wouldn't allow her to take out any more credit and all this shit. Remember, like, that was the only time where like you saw them struggle in a way financially, like these people that have all the money in the world. And that's why, you know, they essentially stopped giving back anything to the people of King's Landing. Like, they basically just let them be poor in the streets, essentially, in Flea Bottom and all that in that series, right? But yeah, so it's very interesting. And then get this: due to inflation and deflation cycles, money isn't worth the same value in the prequel era compared to the values a century later during Game of Thrones. So during the main novels, 1 gold dragon apparently is 210 silver stags. It's considered a fair price for an average horse, not 3 and change. So things are even more expensive at this point.
They had an economy.
Yeah, than it is later on. I mean, they're really in the weeds in terms of like the nerding out on this shit on this show here. So and the fact that the people that do these write-ups were able to gather this information within days of the show airing. That's insane. Shout out to the Wiki of Westeros people, whoever updates this stuff, because that's very interesting.
That's so intricate. It's like, I want to know what your full-time job is, because like, if it's not this, like, kudos to you. Yeah, like, we need to start paying you.
we need you on the show here discussing this.
Yeah. Wow.
Also, I thought this was interesting. This episode introduces the Kingsguard of this era, whose costumes in this TV series closely match the description given in the books of stunning all-white armor, which were like those guys you saw that spoke to him, right? Apparently in the books, this is what their armor looked like across their entire history. But on Game of Thrones, the costume designer decided not to use all-white armor because she felt it wouldn't translate well on screen. So we're actually getting... In this show, we're getting specifically the proper armor that was referenced in this book again. Like, this is not them taking liberty. This is, again, them really getting into the weeds and saying, we want to make this as exact in relation in terms of an adaptation to the material as we can. So
You
kind
know
of
what? To be fair, that's a really cool factoid. But like to be fair, like this isn't a huge production like Game of Thrones, where it's
that's true.
multi-season and gonna cost like a bajillion dollars to keep
That's true.
making all of these costumes and
So they can
da
take
da da.
more liberties, like in that sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like and it's like they have nothing really else to focus on. So it's like let's focus on the tiny details. I'm sure there's even a million more things that we're not even paying attention, like the way that Dunk's cape like drapes over his like shoulder on the left side. Like that's got to mean something too. Like I don't know, I don't know, but you know, it's just there's got to be I don't know. That's why this show is like so good. Like
Yeah.
it's I'm really impressed, like very,
Yeah.
very impressed. And I'm not easily impressed by things. So I'm very
Well,
impressed by this.
very interesting. Yeah, it's very and like you said, like I guess they're able to get kind of do a bit more of that kind of stuff in this. So this episode introduces Sour Leaf on screen for the first time. I mentioned
Oh yeah.
earlier when Leo Tyrell is chewing it while listening to Dunk. Sour Leaf is basically the Westeros version of chewing tobacco, but the tobacco plant does not exist in the medieval world of Westeros. So that's kind of what he was chewing on there. I guess in the books, chewing tobacco doesn't exist. It's this.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Dunk also pleads with House Florent, one of the other major houses in the Reach. Stannis Baratheon's wife, Selyse, was born a Florent, and Samwell Tarly's mother, Melissa, was born a Florent. They were, in fact, first cousins. In House of the Dragon, the detail was introduced that Alicent Hightower's deceased mother was Alarie Florent. So there you go. More connections. When Baelor quizzes Dunk, he correctly identifies that the current head of House Lannister is the elderly Daemon Lannister, called the Grey Lion. Daemon is Tywin Lannister's great-grandfather. There you go. This is what I think you were talking about.
Great-grandfather?
Yes. Yeah. Though Daemon's
How old is Aemon Targaryen then?
No.
My God.
Says through Daemon's, he's his great grandfather through Daemon's younger son, Gerald. Yeah, that's what it says here. Unless they're like they got their facts wrong, but that's what it says.
No, I trust them. If they say that, then yes, we are believing. Unless like Maekar had Aemon like I don't know 25 years after this.
It's possible, yeah. Maybe that would make more sense by the time we see Game of Thrones, like how old he is and that, right? But yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting. Great grandfather. Holy moly. Okay.
Medgar Tully tilts in the joust as he did in the novella, but it was never identified how he is related to later generations of House Tully, whether he is a direct ancestor or an uncle or a cousin. Apparently, this is unknown. Similarly, the exact relationship of Leo Tyrell to later generations of House Tyrell has not been specified.
Okay.
So, and these were like people that were in the tournament here.
Yeah.
Here's the matchups in the tournament. Valar Targaryen. Oh, you know what? Maybe they're going to get more into this next episode. No, I think it's done in this episode, right? It says in the novella, the first 5 joust matchups didn't happen simultaneously and not at night. Okay, so it did in the episode, but the matchups in the TV series do match the pairings in the novella. Not all of them are identified by name, but their heraldry matches who they should be. So the matchups in the book, which I guess they just briefly showed here because they didn't spend the time to go over every one, was
that would have been
Baelor Targaryen versus Abelard Hightower, Tybolt Lannister versus Andrew Ashford, Lionel Baratheon versus Robert Ashford, Leo Tyrell versus Daemon Lannister, and Humphrey Harding versus Medgar Tully. What kind of a name is that?
Humphrey Harding.
That's the best name I think out of the bunch.
Humphrey Harding.
And then I think you mentioned this. You mentioned something along these lines earlier. Oh no, you said about how the tug of war was like they improvised some of it, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, the tug of war scene does not appear in the text, though.
No, it doesn't. That was new too. That did not.
Though besides the joust, it's mentioned that there are various other activities and competitions going on. So like it's kind of just like brushed over, and I guess they just chose to make that like a scene, like you said, and like reenact like whatever happened there for George R. R. Martin. So yeah, they're really trying to, I mean, clearly they're trying to make this like a fully realized like world, like and production. Like and to your point, like you had mentioned this, if it's just one setting and they built everything like we talked about last episode, they really could make that much more of an effort in actually doing that kind of stuff with this show, because they're not shooting on all these different locations around the world. And you know what I mean? Like with like House of the Dragon, like when they go and film that, where they, and like you said, the production of that is like, there's like 50 different people and everything like that you have to take care of.
They built the castle.
Right. Oh, and that's true. Never mind. I forgot about that.
Built the castle. It's not like they had the.
I'm not trying to say they don't do a good job on that show. Of course not. But I'm just saying, like they, at least the focus of this is so much smaller that they're able to put like that much.
A lot more into like the details versus like the grandiose.
Exactly.
The grandiosity of like whatever. It's not even a real word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's all I had. That's all I had in terms of the facts for this episode. So yeah,
love it.
I mean, yes, yeah, still a lot to get through. Obviously, here that took up a lot of information. And that's, I didn't even mention everything. There's all kinds of other facts. These are just the things I found interesting while skimming through the notes there. So yeah, shout out to the Wiki of Westeros website. Check it out, guys. They do a really good job of giving synopsises of all the episodes, but why do that when you got us here talking about it? This is where
join us.
So yeah, that's it for this episode. Did you happen to see the name of the next episode? I didn't check that. Maybe I think
it's called A Squire or The Squire.
The Squire? Okay. So
yeah, I think that's what it's called. I think.
Let me just check quickly before we wrap up here. But is it, I think next week you're still with us, I believe, next week, right?
Yeah, I'm with you next week. It's the week after that I may or may not be here. You have to tune in to find out.
Well, we'll figure it out. And then, yeah, shout out once again to JT, who wasn't able to make it in here today for whatever reason. I'm sure we'll find out, but hopefully he'll be back here next week. Let's see here. Episode 3 name. So next episode, The Squire, you got it. Yeah. So the next chapter premieres next week at Sunday, as always, and we'll be here a couple of days after to discuss it. Another episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Thank you once again to Sir Lady Christina for joining me here today to discuss this episode. It's been good. I'm really enjoying it still. I'm enjoying doing this again.
Yeah. Thank you, Meister Stats, for reliving this synopsis. It's a lot of work.
No problem. No problem. I have fun doing it, but really just disappointing. We're only going to have a few more weeks of this, right? Until
it's okay. We take a little pause, not even a break. It's a little pause.
We'll be back.
Come back. House of the Dragon.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Rawr.
Yeah. So there you go. Episode 3. Next one we'll be discussing is called the titles The Squire. And thank you once again to everybody who tunes into this show. We really appreciate it. Hit us up in the comments if you weren't able to come through and talk about it here today. We'll have to get the word out. We'll have to get the word out to more people about stopping in here. But you know what? I don't know, man. I just really hope the investment is there from some folks for this show. I feel like we're sitting here digging it, but I don't know. I don't know if the reception has been all that. I haven't really seen any bad reviews on the show yet, but I also haven't seen that much chatter about it, like you said at the start of the show.
I'm gonna start like advertising.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start doing my own due diligence as a super fan.
There you go. There you have it, guys. You heard it here first. So, all right. Thank you once again, and we'll see everybody next time. Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Welcome to the show, everybody.